Hello, good afternoon. Yes, I hope we are all doing well. Sorry for being late today. I think yesterday and today has been bad for us, but it's all good. We are still here. We are about to learn, so fine. Right. Okay. So yes, I just need to know you are hearing me before I continue. Okay. So yes, yesterday we had network issues, but I think today I hope today to be better. So yes, I will start from the conditional statement. I'll start from the if, right? We'll start from the if once again. So yes, before uh I will just do a recap of the if that I did. Okay. So yes, the if we said what the if is a conditional statement. You always want to you have some lines of code that you want to execute, right? But here's the case: you want some condition to be met before you'll be able to do that execution, right? So that's when the if comes. So you want to do something if and only if a particular condition has been met, right? If that condition is met, then if the people if like for instance you want to give people um, access to your room, but you want to know that the person access to a particular classroom, but you want to know that the person is actually a member of that class before you give that access. So before you check the condition, the first condition is you want to check if the person is in that class before you give the access. This is a sample thing, a similar thing. So you have a condition that you always want to check. And if you finish checking, if the condition is met, something happens. If the condition is not met, another thing too also happens. That's what we are talking about. That's what if does. And this was the syntax that I wrote. We use the keyword if. Yesterday I tried saying what Python has some set of words that you can never use as what your variable names, and I listed them here. This was it. I imported keyword and I gave you a list over here. So this all of these things are words that you can never use them as what your variable names. You see that it will not happen. Okay, so yes, for the if, this is the condition. If then the condition is here, then you bring your colon, then you go indent, you indent inside the indent. You see everything that is inside is executed uh if whatever that is here is true. You see that? So we started from this. I wanted to I'm continuing from the same notebook that I had yesterday. So I have a list of names. So Eric, Irene, Farouk, Mastermind, David, Evans, and Equia. You see that? Okay. So we want to check if something, we want to do a condition. We want to check if what something, if David is in the names that we have, right? So I did this, David in names, and that's what happened, right? Okay. So now I'm saying for you to write the code, it is what? If then the condition, this was a condition. This evaluates to either true or false, right? So, okay. Mm-hmm. Just evaluate this, the condition over here. What is happening? Is anyone having some challenges? Right. What is it? Martin Bright. What's the issue? Right. Nothing? Okay, let's continue. So I have if David is in the names, what should happen? We want to print what David is part of us. And yesterday this was what happened. And I check if Akugri is in the names. We check, we ran it, and nothing happened. And as I said, if the first one, whatever that is down here, will only be executed if and only if the name over here, if the condition over here is true. If the condition is false, whatever that is under this if inside this indentation will not be executed. So we wanted to, I said what? If you want to also catch that one, then you have to then bring what? Modify the condition to make it what? If then you bring the else statement. The else statement is always there to catch what? The false statement. The statement if whatever that you are executing, the condition is if the condition is false, what should you do? That is what happens over here, right? So if then the condition. So I had yesterday we looked at this condition. If Akugri is in the names, you should print haha he's with us. Otherwise, you should print what? Nah, this guy is not part of us. So yes, that was the if, and yesterday I equally thought of what we doing what a nested if, a if statement inside another if statement, and that's how come I did this. I said what I first declared the first variable to be what 10, and num is equal to 10, but we have two conditions that we want to the first condition we want to make sure that the number that we have declared, you want to check if it is greater than 5. Then if it is greater than 5, then we go inside again and then modify it and say, oh, okay, now it is greater than 5, right? So we want to check if it is also what? Divisible by 2. If it is an even number, that's what we want to check. So you see the conditions. If you are first checking, you have one if, you have another if, this is what two ifs. So it means nested ifs. Inside the if, you can have several. You can keep adding several ifs, right? Hmm. So yes, this was what we did yesterday, and we had this. So we declared this one. So we can equally print. We can equally mm, do. We can equally go this way. Uh, let's do something. Let's create some function. Let's do something. Let's use this input function so that it will evaluate the answers for us. There's one a function that allows Python users to give this Python an input, right? And that is what input. So if I say input like this, and I say, oh, you will enter a number, enter any number, any number, just like this. You see that the output, it will come, the text comes out. You see that the code is not, it has not finished executing, it is still a star. And you can see that here is dark, meaning the code is still running. It expects me to give it what? An input. If I don't give it an input, I'll be disturbing this notebook. So I have to give it an input. So if I enter 5, you see that the output is 5. But input input always does something. It always returns what? A string. Looking at it, you see that it is 5, but it is not a number. It is what? It is in quotation marks, meaning it is a string currently. So for you to do that, you can convert it. The other time when we are doing int, float, and other things, I said what we can, if you want this number, this thing to be, if you want to change something into an integer, you can do this and say what if I do this, or 7, If I run this, you see that it has changed to an integer. The same way, so type conversion, you can convert something into any other type that you want, provided that if it is not, Python will tell you, right? So over here, we can do that. We want to do whatever that is here, right? We want to do, so we want to do the same, want to do this, we want to print, so we want to create a number, and that number should be what? An input that somebody will input, and we are saying what? Enter, enter your number, enter your number. So we can do this, enter your number. So then if I run this, but yes, as I said, this one will give us what? A string. So let's make it an integer like this. So we keep all of that inside the bracket. So we've kept it inside the bracket. Now we can now go forward and say and do our if statements. So if the num that the person has inputted is greater than is greater than 10, is greater than 10, what should we do? Dot 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 dot. We want that. If it is not there, if it is not greater than 10, what should we do? Then you see that I'm going back. The dot dot dot, the hash, I'll come and put the code that whatever that I want to do, the print statement that I want to print, I'll come and print it there. I just want you to see the general syntax, right? Then I'll go else. If it is not greater than this one, what should you do? It should what? Print. It should do something here, but we can say, hey, print. Want to print some statements here. Hey, your number is a small number. It's a small one. Okay, so something like this. You see that? But now let me go inside there. Let me take the hash out. And now I want to put another complete if statement to inside here. Have you seen that? I want to put a whole complete if statement to here, right? So I come and say what? If, once again, if num, as we did yesterday, if num modulo 2 is equal to 0, then what should they do? Print what? Print what? Your number is an even number. It's an even number. Else, then we go down, then we go back. You see that this else is inside that one. So else, then what? Else what? Print what? Print your number is an odd number. If it is not an even, then it will obviously be an odd number. Your number is odd. So like this, something like this. You see that I have an if statement inside the if statement. You see that? So if I run this, control enter, then now they expect me to give a number. So depending on the number, you will know where it will enter, where it will pass through. So I can say, I can just give any number for now. So I say what? 45. If I run, enter, your number is odd. You see that? It is telling me what? Your number is odd. I should have, that is it. So it has gone inside here. It took what? Okay, let me print this one first. Let me print something here first. Let me print something here safe so that we know it is inside. Print what? You are in the first if. So let me run it again, and now let me give it what? 30 31. Okay, so you are in the first if your number is odd. If I run it again, let me give what? This time around, let me give 20. Enter, your even number. Let me go again, and now let me give a number below 10 and see. So 7. You see, hell, hey, your number is a small one. So this is basically what if statement. You see that you are able to do one if, so we can even add in, bring another if statement again. You see that if statements, that's how it is, right? Hmm. So this is it. This is it for if statement, right? These are the conditional statements I talk of what we've done. The single if we first started by doing what a single if, then we added the else statement, then we then came to do what a nested if, right? That's how. So you'll be needing all of these things as we goes on, right? So now let's go. The next one, the next thing that we'll be doing, yeah, we are done. We are okay. This is the if. You just need to practice more about it. You just need to do more about it. Learn more, do more about with it, right? Practice makes man perfect, right? So let's go. The next one, we are now going to the looping system. We've done the conditional state, the conditionals. So we'll then be going to what? Um, the loops, right? Any problem with ifs? So we go to loops, loops. So let's go here. Let's go here. So we are coming to look at what loops. And what are loops? Loops are things that when you want to do something, you want to do, you've written a lines of code, but you want to do it repeatedly, 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 doing something what repeatedly, looping. You are going as a you are doing the same thing repeatedly, you are doing the same thing repeatedly. Loops are there to help us with those tasks that are being done repeatedly, right? Loops are there for us. So there are two loops that we'll be looking at, and that is what the for loop and the while loop. These are the two loops that we'll be looking at. The for loop and the what and the while loop. So let me go inside and specify. Okay. For and what while loop. Okay. So these are the two things that we want to look at. So we'll be starting with the for loop. So what does the for loop do? The for loop is when you know what the number of times we use the for loops when what you know the number of times that you want to do the looping, the number of times that you want to do something. So I want to print out this one Bright's name 10 times. I want to print out Bright's name 10 times. You see that you know the number of times you want to print what Bright's name or you want to call Bright. So the for loop is your best friend in doing that. You know what you want to do and then you go, right? So what is the syntax? What is the syntax? Let's look at the syntax first. Let's look at the syntax first. Let's look at the syntax. Let me change to what? Raw. Okay, so I say what? For syntax of for loop. Okay, so you bring the keyword. The keyword is what? For I or for number for anything for I in something in an iterable something that we can loop over it, so we can loop over a list, we can loop over a range, and so for I in as I said range, let's use range with for I in an iterable, so iterable. So what do you do? The indentation, then you do anything that you want to do here, statement, any statement that you want to execute, you do it here. So this is just the for loop. So the keyword for, then your word, then in. So if that one if it is there for that number of times, so it will be doing. So we go, that is the syntax, then we have to do it over here. So for I in range, range for I in range, so I want to print bright 10 times, so 10 times I say what? 10, right? Then I go, then I say what? For I in this, print what? Inside. Then I say print bright. See something like this. So I've printed what? Bright's name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You are able to do something repeatedly. So inside the four, whatever code that you want to be executed, you keep it there. Whatever code that you want to be executed, you keep it inside what? The indentation under the four. You see that? So you can equally what? We can equally could have said what? Or comma I. We are printing the I, we want to print the I. Bright 0, bright 1, bright 2, bright 3, bright 4. So it means that is the I. So in the range of 10, it starts from what? 0 up to the M9. Because the last one is always what? Not included. Right? Are we together? Are we together? This is a for loop. So as I said, so we can say what? We can say for using, we can find what? For I, or the I, this one for name, for name in names. We already have names. Names is a list. Print what? Print, we want to print, do some print, want to print what? The name, comma, is is part of our class. So let me see. You see that? So you see that? So I have what? For, then it picks what? Eric. Eric is part of our class. Irene is part of our class. Farouk is part of our class. Mastermind is part of our class. David is part of our class. Evans is part of our class. Equia is part of our class. You see that? So we are able to do this thing repeatedly. We are able to print something repeatedly. We are able to check a condition, right? So we can go. See, there's also this one. There's this simple mass stuff to print words. If you are given some set of numbers, you can we have when we pick maybe from 0 to 50, something like that. From 0 to 50, we want to print what? The odd numbers out, and want to what? We want to print the odd numbers out and want to print the even numbers too. Somewhere, want to store them, right? So see something. So we can say what? Um, for I, or for num in range. So as I said, in range from 1 to what? 51. From 1 to 51. What do we want to do? If I, if num modulo 2 is equal to 0, it means it is an even number. Then we say what? First of all, maybe, then print I. Print I. Hey, print num. Num. Right? Let me see. So you see this. This prints only the even numbers in this range. Have you seen that? Right. So this is what happens. Yeah, somebody said genome sequence. Give the I trouble. You can iterate over it. So if whatever what you have written here, if you say what 1, R as 1, just as, let me do that for you, for here. For I in what? If I say bright GHT, look at what will happen. Print, it will print B, it will print them, print I. You see what will happen. You see that? Print them one by one. It will iterate over it. You see that? But that was not what I was doing. I kept a range here, a number over there, then I printed something. Over here, you can print even anything that you want. You can put an equation over here, right? Mhm. So you saw this. You saw what I did over here. We could what? Create an empty list too. We could create an even. So we say even numbers. Even is equal to what? An empty list. A list that we don't have anything there. Odd to be equal to also an empty list. So we can store the even numbers in this range over there. You see that? So this time around, you see that we will not what? Print, but we will store. And thankfully, we know how to add stuff into a list. You saw that we did what? When we're doing list, we did what? Some methods of a list. I even sent images into your group. Then you saw what? Append, pop, and those things. So we can do that. So if we verify that the number is what? If the number is even, then we append that number into this even thing. Even into this empty thing. Dot what? Append. Append. So what are we appending? The number that we verify. So then we go. We want to move out for the else. Else else then it is an odd number, so we can see odd dot what? Append into bracket what? Num. So with this we will get what? You see this? Let me run this. So yes, we've done this. So now let me call even. Have even. You see that? I have even numbers. All the even numbers are here. Let me reduce the number so that, let me reduce the range. So let me take it up to 21, right? From 1 to 21. So now you see this. So from 1 to 21, we have what? The even numbers are 2, 4. Then let me see the odd numbers too. We have the odd numbers too. You see that? That's how this thing works. So you see that we started with what? We did if. Now when we go to 4, you see that I've started bringing what? If. I've brought if under a for statement too. You see that? Those things can be blended. It will be blended. It will be blending as we are moving on, right? So this is a way of we understand. As I said, the for is when you know the number of times you want to do something. So you want to do something for this number of times. 100 times I want to do this. 10 times I want to do some calculation 10 times. Have you seen that? I want to do some calculation 10 times. That's what we do, right? Okay. So yes, this is the for loop. So we've been able to loop through what? We've looped through a range. Here too, we loop through a string. We can loop. Let me loop through a list for for, let me say, name. I did what? I did this one for name in a list. Let me say a list of names. So let me say it's you, and I say what? Uh oh, let me say bright, bright. Then I go for David, David. Then there's another one. I see J. So we want to look through a list, right? So I say this. Print what? Print what? The name. Print name. This is it. So when I do this, we print that. We are able to print that. So we want to do this number of times. Look through it. We go. So we could equally look through what? We could equally look through um, a tuple and so on, right? Yes. Okay, so this is it for what? The for loop. I know when I do it this way, you have to then go around, do some little search about it, what you can use it for. You see, the more you practice, the more you it will be better. Programming is we do these things, we get to understand these things by what? Learning. And I know it seems confusing as at now. I know majority of you will be like, ah, but I said we were coming to do data science or data analytics. Why am I doing this thing? You need to know you need to learn the program. As I said, what we are using, what we are learning Python, what for our analysis. So if we don't learn the basics, we will not be able to even do it. We will not be able to even do our analysis, because everything that you'll be doing, if you come here, you'll be working your Jupyter notebook, you'll be using it to do your cleaning, you'll be using it to do visualizations. Yes, when you look at the curriculum, you see that the week one I said it was what for Python fundamentals. Yeah, maybe subsequent year, maybe by next week, by the close of next week, we would have entered into what the stuff that will be, you enjoy, you like to do, when especially when we start loading the data into pandas and we start doing those stuff. I know, but for now this is how we have to do. And I still see that a lot of you, oh, a lot a lot of you you are just quick. You want us to be doing the data science stuff, but you need to get the Python stuff. You need to get the Python. I always say, if you understand, if your Python is good, then the rest will come, because it is just a matter of you importing a library and writing your some few lines to work, right? So let's im improve it. Let's make sure that yes, we are doing that, we are practicing. Let's practice. It will be better. It will be good for us. It is not one thing I always say, is that this field that you are coming in, as I said, I think I said it in the beginning, the first day. It is a field that everybody is always learning. You see that? I'm always learning. My boss is always learning. Everybody is always learning. The one who joined today, the one who started today is learning. That is how it is. Everybody is learning. You'll be there. You'll be there, and somebody will, you one thing, you might even go and learn something, and your boss will be like, okay, so you could have done it this way. You see that it is not like nobody is a master of it. We just keep learning. We just keep learning. We just keep learning. You see that? But don't worry. Very soon you'll be okay. You'll start enjoying it. You start working with the data. Hmm? You start working with the data. Don't worry at all. Hmm? Let's get the fundamentals ready. I'm even seeing that a lot are even still saying they were not able to install Anaconda. Their Anaconda is giving them issues. That's something. That's something, right? If as at now your Anaconda is still not ready, that's you should try. You should try. There are videos on YouTube here that you can even just see how to make this thing work. Even my own, those that have installed it, I've shown you ways of launching your Anaconda, launching Spider, launching any IDE in Jupyter. I've shown you that, and how to run your Python scripts here, right? Okay. So yes, after the small talk, now let's go back to work. Let's go back. We are moving to the next one. Everything that we've done here, you see that it might not be what exhaustive. It might not be exhaustive, right? From this day, it might not be exhaustive, but maybe as time goes on, we'll be able to add more things to it. Hmm. Yeah, I like that. Mattel is saying what? Haha, frequently asked questions. Yeah, yes, good for the newbies like us. I say. Isaac is saying was slow motion is better than no motion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The fundamentals is very important. Mhm. So let's go. We'll be moving to, as I said, let's move on to the next words. the next loop, which is what? The while loop. The while loop, we are coming to look at what? That one, you don't know, like you want to be doing something until a particular condition is met. So um you want to be giving somebody, you want to be doing something repeatedly until a condition is no longer, until the condition is false, right? While will continue, while will be doing work, while, if you are using the while loop, the loop will continue, it will forever be working if the condition is true. Have you seen that? The condition will, it will work till your notebook self will even stop working if the condition is forever true. Have you seen that? That is the while loop. So let's start work. Let me go here. Let me make my header first. So wow, yes, well, so yes, we say what? For the while, we normally have to set some. So let me say, and let me set a variable n is equal to 1. Then I say what? While n is less than 5. While n is less than 5. That is the syntax. The syntax, for the syntax of, we just change it to this one. While n is less than 5, do what? Print what? I. There's a problem with this code, right? But let me run it first. You should see it first before, you should see it, so that you appreciate something, the next step that we want to do, right? If I run this, you see that n is what? 1. You see that? While n is less than 5, you see it is running. You see that it is star. Here is also working. My notebook will be, it is working, it is consuming my resources. So I have to stop it. So I have to go to the kernel here and interrupt this because it is forever running. I have to interrupt it. I clicked on this to interrupt it. You see that? I clicked on this interrupt kernel. Otherwise, n, I said n is 1. And I'm saying why 1 is less than this. Print I. Is there, oh, I'm saying I'm printing T. I should have said print N. Print N. So you see N is 11111 inside that, it is forever. So I have to interrupt it. I have to interrupt it now. You see that? So to solve this particular issue, let me come here. So normally for the while loop, you always have to what? Um you always have to solve it by adding a counter, like increasing the n, so that for each time you are looping, you increase the n. So there's a way of reassigning the new variable. So we say, when after it has checked this first condition, you should make sure n, it should increase 1. And there's one way. This formula, this way of doing, increasing the variable that you've set, you could either say what? N plus is equal to what? The variable plus the operator, then you say equal to what? What are you adding? When we are adding 1, so that when it move from 1, the next one will be what? N will be 1, will be added to the n to make it what? 2. When it finish, it goes again, 1 will be added to 2 to make it 3. When it goes again, 1 will be added to 3, making it 4. When it goes again, 1 will be added to 4, making it 5. And that's sort, right? So if I do this, you see that I get what? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see that? But with this, yeah, that it is just this way. You see that this way, it it got to a time whereby n is what? 5, and n is not less than 5, is not less than 5. Then it stops working. You see that? Then it anya edwuma biom. But in a situation whereby I didn't bring this line, if I didn't bring this line, then your work will be running. Yes, that is how it is. Yes, Daniel. Mr. Owens, why does your sound keep going back and forth? Oh, sorry about that. Then. Mhm. As far as n is less than 5, it will keep printing. Yes, that is it. If so long as n was less than 5, it will keep printing, sir, because that's what on only a machine was also on printing, sir, and no, we so printing. Yes. Okay, so yes, this is the while loop. The while loop is just a simple, and it just the two ones. You see that with the while, it will only stop executing if the condition becomes what false. That's when it stops. But for the for loop, you know the number of times you want to do something, so you just set it in motion. If you want to do something 100 times, if you know the number, but if you know the condition, if you also want to verify, oh, if do keep doing this until, so imagine, let me say this password, let me see what password is equal to what? Um, is equal to Eric. This is my Eric 21. That is my password, right? That is password. Then we say, please enter your password. Mm-hmm. Pass, pass is equal to enter, input, input. Let me go up a bit. Oh, let me let me increase this size. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. Should have done that earlier on. Should have done that earlier on. So yes, input, input pass, input. Let me see what. Enter, enter your password. Your password, please. Enter your password, please. Oh, this was supposed to be have done in the if statement. Let me say what. If let me see. I want to use the while. I want to use the while. Oh, it's Blair now. Then I have to go back because nobody was complaining about blairness at this level. Nobody was complaining about blairness at this level. So yes, I'm back here. So let me see. Mhm. Wow, let me do the while. While, let me first set. Want to give n is equal to 3. Do this. We do this while n um is less than 3. It's less than 3. While, oh, while n is, so here should be 0. So while n is less than 3, I have to put this one, send this one inside. Then I bring my if statement to inside. So we want to give the person some number of times to try. So we know the password in our system is this. Then we expect the person to input. So if mhm, pass is equal to password, then what should we do? Ah, login successfully. Print what? Mhm. You have, oh, sorry. The zoom is better. Okay, the zoom is better. Okay, okay. So one, two. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So I go here, then I say what we are still on the while loop, right? We want to do something this number of times. So we go. So print what? Login successful. log, you have login. Okay, just let me do it. Login successful. Okay, then login successful. And we say what? Login successful. Then, okay, when we're doing the if, I didn't do something. I didn't add what? I think I have to add that. I think we have to add what? When to, with this while, I think it is this one. We have to know when to stop something, when to stop. We could equally um, end end something, end the execution, right? So the break allows us to stop. The moment the person has logged in and it is successful, we just stop executing. It shouldn't continue working, right? The code should just stop there. Mhm. And then we go else else. Let me see if print something. Do try again. Try again. Let me see if this goes as I want first, but let me increase. Let me do n is equal to n plus 1. This was also another one. N is equal to n plus 1. So let me see if this works for us. Error. Okay, so I didn't bring the colon. Okay, so now enter. Now I need to enter your password. Then I say what? T. Try again. You see that? Try again. Try again. Try again. It has executed. It is done. I never had it. I didn't give me. Okay, access granted. Yes, I think access granted was the best. Let me go and change it. Access granted. Access. Access. Uh, Granted. Yeah, access granted. Okay. Yes, you can go n minus 2. You can go n minus. It is just an, as I said, as I mentioned, I said operator. So we can say what? I can equally go here and say what? And start it from what? 3 and say while n is what? Greater than, while n is greater than what? 0. Then I come here and say what? Instead of n plus, n is equal to n minus minus 1. So I'm looking at Ray maths. I think look, I've just changed it to suit your question. So I come here and say what? Okay, I give a bad password. Enter. Try again. Ha ha ha. Another bad password. Try again. Another bad password. It has ended. So yes, the operator, it could also be what? Multiplication. It could be this one. It is just an operator that you can do so that it just keep changing. That's why I didn't say plus. I said what? It is what? The variable, then the operator, then the number that you are adding. Have you seen that? So remat, yes. What you are saying, that is just what we've just tried. So yes, this is also. So now let's try. This time, this one was a wrong thing. So now let's enter Eric 21 and see. Enter. That's all. Access granted. You see that the code has executed. We didn't need to continue again. You see that? But in a situation, so with the while loop, this is what we are talking about. So you let me execute it and do the first one. I enter something wrong. Then the second one, I give the right answer. You see, 21. You see that? So this is what happens. You try the first one. If it works, it will keep going. The while loop is still there. So long as the condition is not true. is true, it still works. But the moment the condition goes false, piap, agronasa, empha, then it ends, right? So yes, this was break. We've seen that. I just brought in the break whilst doing this thing. So this stuff. So this was the while loop 2. The while loop 2 can be what? We can have nested. Therefore, we can even have a nested for loop, a nested while loop, a nested. Those things all are what? Possible, right? All possible, right? Ooh. Okay. I hope we are all okay with it as at now, right? Okay. So yes, if that is the case, then we'll look at what. Okay, let me look at something. Okay. So yes, I think that is it for that is it. That is it. We'll be going to this is just a brief introduction to the looping systems. You've seen the for loop, you've seen the while loop. All you need to know is when to which one to use at what time. You see that? You just need to know that difference. When when some criteria when you have some criteria, you should know which one to use. Hmm? That's all. So then the next one is what we have to look at what functions, right? We have to look at what function. We have to look at functions. So let me go. That is it for that is it for what the for and the while loop. The next one that we want to look at is what Python functions. How do we create functions in Python, right? Okay, so we first need to understand what a function is. You saying I've been saying what the print was a function. The what input is a function. What I've been mentioning functions. So we need to ask ourselves, what cra was Theophilus talking about? What cra was Theophilus talking about? And it was like function, right? We say what? It is just a lines of code. Whatever that we've done, you see, whatever that the lines of code that we've done, we can just make it a function, so that it is reusable. Have you seen that? For functions, it's just a matter of after we've done that, that's several maybe tomorrow or another time or somewhere down the notebook you want to do the same calculation. Do you have to come and type this whole thing again, or you no? There should be a way for you to what use the code that the lines of code that you used in doing some calculation, or you used in doing some work, you used in doing your cleaning. You should be able to what reuse it, right? So it's just what it is just a reusable what block of what code, right? And how do we make what functions? The syntax. So first of all, let me make my header first, then we can go. So when I say functions, so I do these functions. Right, then I need to look at what's the row. Okay, so what is it? I say what? It is the keyword. It has a keyword that we will use, and that is what? Define. Def. It's more of like you are defining a function. That is it. You are defining a function, right? So the def is used in defining a function. So after def, After the DEF, then it means you are coming to create a function. Then the next thing is what? To give what? The name of the function. So function name, function, function underscore name. Then after the name, then you can give what? You open brackets. You open brackets, you can put in what comes, something can come inside, we call it what? Parameters. Parameters. Then you close it. Then you bring your column. When you go down, then you go inside the function. You see that the indentation in function in Python is very, very important. Then we say what? The body of the body. The body is here. Whatever that you want to do, you do it inside here, right? Whatever that you want to do, you do it here, right? Then at the end of the day, what after it has done the calculation, what do you want it to bring out? So that's where the return comes in. Return comes here. So what do you want to return? The output that you want or the results that you want is always here, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes you might not need to bring it, but yeah, you can return to, right? You can return the we'll see you see why I am saying that you can either decide to bring it or not, but mostly this is the syntax for what? Creating what? A function, right? So the parameters, yes, we could either specify some parameters that people will be using. You see that? Okay, so let's look at the example. So let's create a function that will use to a function that will be greeting people. So you just call the function and it greets somebody, right? We just call the function and it greets somebody. So let's say what def, we want to create a function. So we want to say greetings. Then what do you want? We want what? Greetings. Then we say you just enter your name. You just enter your name. Then let me say name. Oh, hey, you just enter your name over here. Then we go. So inside here, what do we want to do? We want to create a person. Print. Oh, nothing. We just don't want to do anything over here. Nothing. But it should just return. Let's just use the word return. Return what? Uh, return name. Plus what? Let me say name plus some greetings. So let me say good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, so let me see. So yes, you see that I've done it. I've created a function. It has been executed, but nothing is showing. Just because, yes, when you create functions, you have to call functions before what? It will work. Have you seen that? You have to call functions before it will work. So you see that when I just start greetings, I can use my tab and I have what? Greetings over here. So yes, greetings expects me to give it what? A name because I've kept something there. So I can say what? Till you see this. Let me see. Till good afternoon. So yes, it has just missed it. So for me to solve that problem, I could have just done what? Plus inside here, then I just give what? A quotation mark, and it should just be space. So that way there will be space in between, right? I'm able to add two strings. We are able to add strings together. The name is a string, good afternoon is a string. I've brought them together, right? So I've been able to do this, right? One thing with functions that you have to know is what? With you saw the parameter that I brought here. It is optional. I could have done something different. So let's say okay, let me create a function that will use to what? Calculate the area of a circle or something like that. So let's say df area of circle circle area of a circle, right? Then area of a circle, uh we will not take anything. We just didn't give any parameter, but we say what? This. Let's say what? Area of a circle. We always need what? The radius, eh? Radius. Radius is equal to maybe 3. Then area. Then maybe say pi is equal to 3.1423. I've forgotten my pi, but I hope that is it. Then I do my calculation. Area is equal to, or let me just say return. Return what? What should it return? It should return what? Radius. Radius times what? Pi r square times pi raised to the power 2. This. So if I run this, I have created the function. But for me to see what I've done, I have to call the function. That's where area, then I just don't put anything there, then I run. You see that I get my function. So even if I go somewhere at the top, if I go to the beginning of this notebook over here, and I come here and come and call what? Area of a circle. Area of a circle. You see that it still works because I've made it what? A function. So I can call it anywhere, anytime that I want. You see that? That's why we say functions are what? Reusable block of code that performs a specific task. You see that? So that's what we did, right? That's what we did. Right. So you just need to know the syntax. The syntax. This one, the first one, there was a parameter. The second one, we've not added a parameter. So we can then add what? We can create another one with, now we can modify this. We can modify, you let me modify area of what? A triangle. Area, area of triangle. Triangle. Then now we want what? Um, no, let me use the circle again because I want to do some. Okay, let's go with area of a triangle. So we go. There should be what? There should be what? Area of a half base times height. So we have base and height, right? So base, you need to give it the base, and you need to give it what? The height. The height. You see that? So I'm giving what? I'm creating a function whereby it will take two parameters. So we go area. Area is equal to half. Half is 0.5. 0.5 times base. The base that the person will enter. Base times what? Height. Half base times height. E-I-G-H-T. See that? Then I'll say what? Now return what? Area for me. See that? This is done. Ah, you see that? So when I come here, I just call what? Area. Then I go, I want area of a triangle. You see? Look at something. Let me let you see something. When you declare your function and you declared it with what? Parameters, and you are calling and you make the mistake and you don't put anything inside, Python will call you out. Python will say, hey, my guy, you need to open your eye. That's what it is telling me. You see that? I'm getting a type error. Area of triangle missing two required positional argument. So that is what? Base and height. It is telling me that, hey, mawaninda adeno ehnya two inputs. It needs two inputs, but you haven't brought anything. You see that? So yes, to solve that, let's go. Area, area of a triangle. Then now I go. This time I remember that, oh Charlie, I need to give the base. So I've given the base. But I've forgotten make I say still. You see that Python is telling me, hey, area of triangle missing one required positional argument, which is what? Height. I mean, and for height and back. What I say, you created a function that requires two things, but you've only brought one, but you've not brought the height. You see that? So that's how functions are. You create them. If you see the first one that I did, the first one, I think the greetings. Oh, I did one, the area of a circle. I did it. You see that in the bracket when I was creating, I didn't bring anything there. So when you are calling it, you are good to go. It works, right? So, but over here, mhm, over here for the triangle, when I was creating, I brought some parameters, that some two parameters. So anytime you are calling it, you have to give those two parameters. So I give my base at 5 comma, then I give my height as what? 8. You see this? So if I run this, now I get my output, area of what? Triangle, which is what? 20. You see that? As simple as that. That's how it is. So maybe these errors too, we can also, in creating our function, we can equally also look at it, look at how to what, cater for some of these problems, and say what, let's do this. Say we want to do the same thing, right? We want to do the same thing. So now area of what? Let me see. I'm looking for which area of we've done parallelogram. No, 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 no. That formula, I've forgotten about it. If I don't get anything, area of a square. Okay, let me use a square. Length times breadth, rectangle, length times breadth. I want a simple equation, please. So let me go for the simple equation. I'm going for the simple equation, right? Rectangle, area of a rectangle, right? Area, area of area rectangle, area rectangle, right? So I need what? Base, length times breadth, length L, comma, breadth. But we want to make it in such a way that if the person just gives the length and the person forgets, okay, no, 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 let me use the circle. Mhm. Okay, let me do another circle over here. And I say what? Uh, pi. Let me say radius. The person have to give what? A radius, right? And then the person have to give what? Pi. We can create what? Default. What I'm coming to do is what? Default answers. This one. So I can say what? By default, if the person doesn't know their pi, use this pi for me. 3.142. Use this number as the pi for me. You see that? So I can go. Either I can do this, or I can just set it down there too. There are so many ways. This one is just for you to know that you can set default what? Variables. No, I think I have to. Okay, so area is equal to uh pi r squared. So pi times r, which is what? Radius. Pi times radius dot dot. Then I go for squared. Okay, then I return. Now let me return what? Area, right? So with this, we have created invalid syntax somewhere. That's telling me, oh, I didn't bring my def. Yes, this is it. See this? Okay, so when I come here, I can now call what? Area of circle. Then I give what? If I don't the same way, if I don't enter one positional argument, which is radius, I've missed it. So I go inside, I give what? Radius. Oh, I give one radius of 3. Then I run. You see that I get the output. The same way, this same formula, if I decide to say I need a radius of 4, a radius of 3, but I have my pi that I want to use, which is what? 3 3 3 point what? 1. I have my own pi that I'm using. So you see that it allows you to do that. It allows you to do that. These are the ways, the various ways of creating what. So we've looked at what the default. This one is what, a default parameter that we can set, right? So when in creating it, they are what, parameters, but when you are calling them, they are what, they are arguments that you keep there. Have you seen that? Mhm. So that is it for what, functions. So the only thing that we'll need to look, I need to add when dealing with functions is what, um let me say, um uh, uh, for you to know what is a global variable, what is a what, and what is a local what variable. Those are the few things that I wish I want you to know, right? I want you to know those few things, right? Okay. Yeah. So yes, we need to look at that one too. As I said, what is a global variable? So far we've done the function. We know what to return, to do some calculations and return some variables. So a global variable is a variable that's all the variables that so far we've been doing. I think they are all what, global variables. So if so long as you've declared it, when you call it anywhere, it works. So you see what, I have names somewhere around the top. So you see name, it's a global variable. Anywhere I call it, it comes, right? But they are also what, local variables. Global variables are not inside functions or classes, right? Classes maybe when there's another part of learning of Python we call what, object oriented what, programming, OOP. Then you look at what, classes, but that's not what we are doing. So yes, global variables are outside functions and what, classes, and you can call them anytime, right? But we look at the other one, the other brother, which is what, local what, variables. Local variables are declared within functions and are limited to the, you see that they are limited to that. You see local variable over here in this, when we look at this function, that we created over here, area is a local variable. You see that? See this? Area is a local variable. So if I want to print what, area, see that name error, it doesn't know any name, but have declared it somewhere, just because that one was declared inside a function, and this one, the names and other things, they were not declared inside functions, they were declared outside. Those that are outside are what, global variables. Those that are inside the functions are what, uh, local variables. So we can confirm that over here. So we say what, value to be equal to, let me see, def. I think I just want to say something. You see, in a local, I want to call the variable that I've declared outside the function. I've declared. So anytime I let me call this area, you see that it printed what? It printed, you see that I'm executing this. It is returning the area, which is this. But look at it, it also printed something, a value that I told it to. A local man is not known outside his community. Yes, Daniel, that is it. That is it. Hmm. So yes, you see that the global man, we have been able to call it inside the function and it worked too. But hmm, the local man, when we call it out, when we call him outside, it will not work. Yes, 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 yes. So yes, that is what we wanted to do. Yeah, that is what we wanted to do. I think We've done, we've treated these two guys very well. I think the next thing that I would like to do is what? So far, so good. I'm waiting for you. Do you have any challenges? I think so far today's class is, I think you guys are not having issues with it that much. So yes, that's fine. That's fine. I have to look for, I have some notebook that I want to, I have some notebook that I want to work. Oh, coming. Not here. Not here. Coming. I have some. Uh, Sorry. I'm looking for some notebook I want to use to do some topic. I'm looking for P for E. Okay. Coming. I'm coming. I'm looking for something. I'm looking for something. Yeah. Coming. I am coming. Exception. Exception handling. Exception handling. Yeah. Exception handling. Okay. So. Okay. Uh, Exception handling. It is in GTL course. Okay, so it is in GTL course. Let me go. It is in GTL course. Let me go. Mhm. I have it somewhere here. I think that is GTL. GTL course. Yes, 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 yes. This is it. I think we need to. I need to take you guys through exception handling. Ah, where are you? Oh, not this. Oh, oh. I need to go. Just give me some small. Where are you? Where's this folder? Oh, yeah, I think it should be here. It should be here. Yes, yes, yes. This is what I was looking for. Okay, 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 okay. This is what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for. Yes, that's good. Why did you put two in parentheses? Sir, please, why did parentheses, two in parentheses, two in two in parentheses. Where? Oh, okay. John, I was saying we declared this one. I created this function, and the function expects me to what? Give it a radius, and probably a pi. But the pi is, if I give a pi, it will take. If I don't give to it, it will use this default pi, which is this. So when I'm calling for the function, if I call the function area, area, and I don't give anything, Python will tell me that there's a mistake, there's an error, there's an error, right? Uh, so area missing one positional argument, which is what? The radius. So you see that. So you have to check that. So in calling it, then I have to give it what? A radius. That's whereby I give it 2. This time around I'm using 4. So you are able to just print. Or when you are calling the function, when you were creating the function, if you kept some parameters that you have to call, then when you are in creating the function, when you are calling it to, you have to make sure you keep them there. If you don't keep them there, you will get those mistakes, those errors, right? So yes, that is it with functions. We've created functions. We've created what all those. We've done what the few loopings, and we've seen what functions are. The only thing that is left before we can close is what um error exception handling. So far, when we started, so far that we've started, I know you've been running into errors. Myself, I've run into a few errors. So you need to know about those errors and what they mean, right? And how to maybe go around it and whatsoever, right? So let's look at what let's look at error. So what is an error? So yeah, error are mistakes or faults in program that cause our program to behave unexpectedly. If not handled properly, may lead to failure and program crashes. So the program might stop when actual output of a program is equal to the expected program. It's not equal to the expected program. When the actual output that is supposed you are supposed to get, if it is not equal to what you are what the output that comes, if it is not the one that is supposed to be, then you get an error. If you are saying print q, that is what you want it to print q, but it comes out with something else, you should know, yes, there's an error. So we start out by looking at what syntax error. I think what yesterday or the other day we saw what error, syntax error. So what is a syntax error? Well, as I said, errors are what? Faults or mistakes. So funny enough, Python's error, when the error comes, always try to read the error. You know what you see that. You know what they are telling you. You saw even before we did this, when I call the function without the parameters or the arguments, you see that it will tell me, oh, you were supposed to do this, you didn't do it. All in what? All in what the error. You see that all in the error. It tells you, oh, this is what you are supposed to do, this is what you are supposed to do, this is what you are supposed to do, right? So now let's look at the syntax error. As I said, syntax is about what it's about syntax error is all about the syntax. It means that is not the way Python expects you to write the code. You see that Python does not want you to write the code that way. And it will always what for syntax error, Python will always point you to the error. You see that there's always a pointer. You see a sign. This sign will point to where the error is. So I'm trying to name a variable. 7070 is equal to 23. Why is this an error? Because Python says that when you are naming variables, don't let your variables start with what? Numbers. And I'm doing that. So if I try to do that over here, if I try to run this, so let me restart and clear all of this output first. Let me restart and clear all of this output. Restart and clear all outputs. Restart and clear all outputs. Yes. Okay. So yes, I've restarted and cleared all outputs. Right. So when I come here, I do this. I do this. And then we see invalid syntax. It is pointing to here. at the T. So Charlie, one yard Python is saying, hey, one yard. Mm, this is not how I accept. I don't do my things this way. Okay. Mhm. Okay. So then another one, I try to do another one. Name. Yeah, because it is pointing to that side. So all of these are what? Syntax error. With syntax error, you will always be able to solve syntax error. You should always be able to solve what? Syntax error, because you'll be able to just it will always point to that direction where the problem is, right? To always point to that direction where the problem is. You see that? So now I've also my name is still then my name is still and I want to print those two things. So oh, my name is Python have a way. When you want to print two things, one a variable and a string together, you have to find a way of bringing them together. You have to find a way of okay, bringing them together. So you can say what? You always have to separate them. You can separate them with what? A comma like this, and it will work, right? So if I say print this, you see that it works because I'm printing these two things. I think if I equally add them to, it equally works. But with the addition, yeah, I need to, you see that there was no space. So if I want extra space, I need to add the space by just you putting space inside what? Quotation mark. So this one becomes like you are adding three strings. This is a string, this is a string, and this is also a string somewhere. So I've added the strings together, right? So even before, I think I have to talk, let me talk about this thing, this print function, this print statement. Let me talk about it somewhere. Let me talk about the print statement well. How to print stuff. So let me say we have what? A name here. Uh, name name is here already, right? Name is here. Let me say, let me declare another variable to be called age is equal to what? 23. Then I now you want to print choose age is this. You see that? That's what print what? Print what? Choose. So we want to pick what? The name. You want to pick the name. So you do this. You do this. And you say what? You bring quotation mark. Is this years of age? Yes. I think this. We have the dot format. The format. There's what? This format. Then inside the format, you have to list the variables that you've declared. So the first place you want it to be what? Name. I think let me wait and let me finish and see if this is actually it. Mhm. Yeah, so this is it. This is with the this is in the print statement how to modify your print statements to be better. So you have a name somewhere, you have the age somewhere, and you want to print it out nicely. So if you just do this, if you just take the string formats, you can format the string fantastically like this. So you have the string and you have some variable somewhere that you want to input it. You just need to what? Bring your parentheses. So inside some your print statement, you want to pick some variable somewhere and input it. You want to pick some variable somewhere and input it. You just need to bring what? Your parentheses, right? Your parentheses, and then you add it there. Mhm. There's also, this is one way. There's also another way that we do it, which we call what? The S string. So when instead of printing it directly, you just bring F, then you open your bracket, right? You open your bracket and you bring what? Your parentheses. And now the variable name. Then you go is then you open your parentheses, then the next variable name that you want to be here. So when it gets to the name, it will pick the name that is there. If it gets to the age, it will pick the variable that is there and input it here in your print statement for you, right? So years of age, years old. You see that? Then you close your quotation mark, and when you print the same way, the same way. So these two things. You just need to really get them, and it will work. It will work in doing your print statements. Either you want to make your print statement look this way. Yes, but we are on what? That is all. We are on exception handling, right? Exception handling. We are saying what? When you see a mistake, we are looking at what? How to find mistakes. Oh, how to find mistakes, errors, and then we'll find ways of, yes, in the brackets, in the curly brackets, in the curly brackets. You always have to use the, cur- the curly brackets, just as we used. For the format, the position matters, right? The format, the position matters. So if I make a mistake and make the age first, it means the age will be kept there first. If I do this, then it means I put at the first parenthesis, put age there. You see that? If I do this, the two ages will be kept there. If I so one thing, you see that it has changed. 23 is 2 years old, just because that is how you've positioned it. So you always have to take notice of this. Mhm. So it is what? Name first, then age. If you do name too, then it means that is the two things that will be kept there. So you just have to know what you are doing and what you want to be inputted inside there, right? Mhm. Okay. So me, to always be at safer side, I just use the F string, and inside I just open. I know, okay, the name. When you get here, pick the name that is there inside here. When you get here, pick the age that is there, so that I don't have to, oh, which one has to go first, which one has to go second, which one has to go. So but as time goes on, if you, as you are learning your Python, you yourself, you also know which one that works for you and which one that is good for you, right? Hmm. Okay, so let me look at this. I want to type my for I in range print I. I go, they're telling me syntax error just because what? I didn't bring the column. Have you seen that? So there should be a way. Sometimes people don't also want the errors to be executed. They don't want to see the errors, so they want to find a way of catching the errors. So we say what? Errors can also occur at runtime, which we call what? Exceptions. So exceptions may occur due to what? Improper user input, resources not present, like file not found. Mhm. Whenever this type of runtime, Python creates an exception. So more of like an exception. You want to, okay, run this code, but if the error is this, then do something. If this is the type of error you want to cut, you want to see the exceptions. Okay, if properly not, no, don't worry, we'll start doing that. So we'll use one. We'll want to open a file. Let me see. Open open with open, this one is a function that allows us to open files from our local directory, right? So I want to open a file name what? With open. File not found is also another error that we are looking at. Just concentrate on what? The errors. But with open allows us to open. If you have some text files there that you want to open, you will just use what? Open. So with open, then you give the file name and you give the method, the how you want the mode. So I want to open it in read mode. I want to open it in write mode. I want to open it in some, maybe we'll get to understand that. But for here, the error that we are finding is what? No such file. I don't have a file like that, but I'm saying I want to open it. So Python will tell me no such file. The same way when you want to load your data set and you don't have it, that's what will happen. It will tell you that error is not there. So that was file not found error. There's also another error called what? zero division error. When you want to divide a number by zero, you will get that error. You are dividing a number by zero, which is not possible. You are dividing a number by zero, you will get that error. So when you see zero division error, then that's what it just tells you that somewhere along your code you are dividing by zero. You see that? Name error. Name error. When you see name error, it means what? You've not declared anything of that sort, but you are calling that thing. So let me see. I've declared radius to be 5, and I want to calculate area is equal to pi times radius. I've forgotten. You see that my radius here is capital, but I don't have such thing there. So it seems like you want to disturb Python. Now crowd any new one I also mean fine and I mean fine calculation. Name error means what? The thing is not defined. You see that? It is not defined. It is not there like that. But you think that it is there. So there's what? Um Name error. There's also type error. Type error means type error occurs when you are trying to perform some operations with two things that are not agreeable. More of like you want to a plus b, which is not acceptable. Yeah, there could be several errors. But the first error, the moment it encounters the first error, that is the first output, then the code will not work. Eric, yeah, you could have several errors, but immediately you see Python executes the code line by line from the top to down. So the moment, like this is what this way of the way we are programming, this is what happens. It executes it line by line. So immediately it hits the first error, you get that output. That error output, you see it. That output is what you see first, right? Yeah. So yes, I'm trying to add a plus 2, which is not. So can only concatenate str, not int. We are trying to add two things. So except this one, if this is also a number, then we can add. If this is a string, then we can bring those two together. But say two different things are you say your performance on mass on it, that will be totally out of order, right? Mhm. So yes, the next thing that we'll look at what is how to then uh, handle the errors that are there, right? So um we want to let me see. Okay, what's there? Okay, so let's try out. So exception handling, we are saying what? Sometimes you want to, okay, somebody might commit this mistake. Somebody might try to do this. So if the person does that, you want to help the person. You want to give the person another chance. So you see that we use what? The try and accept block. So the syntax is this way: try the code that might run into an error, then you do it, you keep it there. Then the accept is if the person inputs something mistakenly, then you catch the person, you let the person try it again. So that is the syntax for what? Try accept. So for this instance, we want somebody to input what? Numbers. Number one, number two. Then we'll do those two numbers. We'll multiply those two numbers. You see that? We want to multiply those two numbers, right? So yes, so let's go. So we say enter your first number, and as human being as we are telling Python, oh, enter your first number. But somebody wants to be stubborn. Okay, you let me enter my first numbers first, and I enter my second number. So it returns what? It prints what? N1, the first number times the second number. Yes. So you see, there was no error. The code has executed correctly. But we want to do as one thing, as one thing. So we are saying what? Enter number one, and I go and enter T. Yes, that is my number. Enter. The moment it enter, we are supposed to what? Get an error. But the except catches those error. So you see that immediately there was an error, it moved straight towards the except, whatever that is at the except. And over here is what? Ha ha ha, massa. Enter a number. So let me say what? Enter a number. Enter a number and stop what you are doing. And stop what you are doing. See that? So let me run this and say what? I give the first one, I give 3. The second one, person may ask one, then I give 8. Say haha. Enter a number and stop what you are doing. You see that? You see that? So that is what happens. That is what happens. So yes, yes, yes. This is how we try to accept. You see that it didn't print what the error out, but we've just find a way. A lot of people normally don't want to see the error. Error sad and they are freaking out. So this way they accept. We've been able to catch it. So if you want to give the person another chance, you could then bring these numbers. You could bring the whole process down here at the accept. Right. You could bring it there. So you see that. So this was the error that was supposed to happen. If you want to, we are trying to, oh no, we are trying to turn a into a number. Value error was what was happening because we are trying to convert a into a number, and that was because here it is int inside it. So immediately you put a variable, then there's an error. It can't convert an alphabet to a number. It can't do that magic. And that was what was we were trying to do. You see that? So I was saying something here. We didn't the person, if somebody gives does a mistake, you see that it's if somebody enters a mistake, the wrong something, you see that it moves to the accept over here. Hey, your last chance. Then we want to give the person another chance. That's what I said. Then you copy the whole of this thing and you paste it. Then you come and give it, paste it as the accept there, down there, so that the person get the second chance. Over there, if the person mess it up again, then the error will come because over here there's no accept to catch the error here too. So let's see. Let's run this and you see. So the first one I give number. Then I said the second one I give what? A. You see that? Or see, hey, your last chance. So enter two numbers. So I give my first one, I give my second one. Then it prints it out. This same thing, let me run it once more. I give 4. Then I give what? W. They tell me, hey, your last one. Then I give another swording again. You see that? The error comes because over here, after here, there's no except to catch another error again. You see that? That's what happens. So if you want, we could give the person more. You see that? We could give the person. You see that? So yes, yes, yes. That is just try and accept allows you to catch the errors that you think that people might bring those errors over there. So yes, this is just the same thing, the same thing, the same thing here, the same thing here. So now we want to look at what how to handle multiple errors. We are saying what handle multiple errors with what a single except. That's what we've been catching. But you see that the first one you didn't know the kind of error that happened, so we can print the error. We can print the error, right? So we expect that somebody will do some silly value error mistake, so invalid literal. So we can equally print the error that we can say, hey, this is what happened. You see that by this one, you are not seeing value error. No, we are just catching that. If it is value error, print the error. The error is always this one. The error is always the last statement that is there. The last statement, this one. This is if this, then you should print what the value that is there. That's what we are telling it to do, right? That is what in this code. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, that was a single one that we did. That is for this one. Yeah, for this one, the one that I executed up here, right? Okay. So yes, let's go to that was we catching one. We could also try to catch what? You see that we only had value error. We want to do something in such a way that, okay, so you see this one, we are doing division. If somebody enters the numerator to be 0, we'll get a 0 division error. If somebody enters an alphabet, we'll get a value error. If there's a name error to, we'll see. So this one, we are trying to catch about 3 different what errors all at the same time. So enter your number one, first number. So I say what number, we want to get 4. Then the second one, I want it to be 0, so we enter. So num4 is not defined. Num4 is not defined because, okay, num4 is not defined. Num4, name num4, look at it, num1, num2, but in the division we are saying num4, so it has been able to catch that one. Then let's do what 2. Let me change this one. So let me say 3, then I bring 0. You see that division by 0, it means the same code, but it's able to catch several different errors. So I want to catch the value error too. So 3, then I put an alphabet here. You see that invalid literal for int. You see that I kept F there. So we are able to what? Catch several ones with the excepts. You see that handling multiple exceptions with multiple blocks. The above one was what we're catching. What we're using one except to catch multiple ones. So we could also do it this way. We could separate it, except exception 1, exception 2, exception 3, exception 4. You see that? So except 0 division error, then if you can put several a code, another set of code that you want to put over here. You see that we can put several different number of codes. So imagine we want to do this. Looking at this code, what do you think will be the error? Let's see the error, the kind of error that will come out. So we have what? Num1, num2, number 1, enter in any first number 1. Then here to be what? Number 2. Then now, when we come to results, let me say res is equal to num1 times num2. Now 3. You see, we've not defined num3. So we are expecting to get what? A name error. But in our exceptions, we are catching 0 division error. We are catching type error. We are not catching what? We don't have a specific one to catch any other one. So we are saying what? If it is 0 error, print that error. If it is this, but if it is different from any of this one, so in our case that will be what? Name error. That means it is not this. It should print what? Caught an unknown what? Error. So let's go part 2, part 3. Caught an unknown exception, because we are trying to catch what? 0 division error here. We are catching what? Type error here. But we are not catching what? Any other ones, we don't know it. So we say we caught what? An unknown what? Error. You see that? Then we look at what? For example of exception handling while working with files. Oh, the same. It is just the same thing that we've done. So yes. Try to enter a file name. Sorry, file not found. I think it is just the same thing. So yes, we can equally use try, except, else. Yes, need to know. Just need to know. That is basically how to deal with what? The file exception handling. The rest are not much. With exception handling, you find the error, and you see, instead of the error message being printed out, there's a way of you catching the error. Oh, these people cry, they might try to you are thinking ahead. Like with the exception handle, it's more of like you are thinking ahead. Nah, these people, they are not correct. They might not do it. They might go this way. They might go this way. So if they go that way, this is the kind of error that will come. So if that error comes, what should we do? They should allow, so that people, oh Charlie, the code now which Roma and Anya Jumon. You are trying to capture, you are trying to pick all of these mistakes. You see that? You are trying to solve these things. You don't want somebody to be calling you, Nadia, no, Charlie, this is the kind of error that I'm seeing. You can use this. So in case this particular error happens, then the person should do. Do you want to give the person another chance? Do you want the person to go and sleep or something? You do that. So that's exception handling, and it is already 5:10, and we will not have to we will not go further, right? We will not go further. I think yes, this is. I tried as much as possible to finish with what the fundamentals of what the Python. So we did what we started with variables, we did operations, then we came to the data types, then now we did what conditionals, that is the if, then we added else. Oh, if else. Oh, I just remembered that for the if I didn't add what elif, right? I didn't add elif. Sorry, where's the if? 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 Okay, several conditions to be met. Oh, sorry. So let me just touch on that one before I go. As I was about to talk, I realized I didn't do that. So maybe you have a condition. Um, this is when so you have several conditions to be met. So I will just use what maybe a grading system, right, to do grading system. So to check if to grade people, if we will enter your pass mark. If it is greater than 50, we give. If it is greater than 90, we give you an A. If it is within 70, we give you B. If it is 60, we give you C, and so forth and so on. Meaning you have several conditions to confirm, right? So that is when elif comes in. Elif. So let me just give an example over here. So we say what input mark mark is equal to what input what mm-hmm. Input int input mm-hmm. Input your mark here, please. Right. So then we say we say what if if mark if mark is what greater than 80. If mark is greater than 80, then we say what print what you had what you had an A, right? Then we go another condition. Want to check another elif elif if the mark is what, that means we have several conditions, right? Elif if uh, mark is what greater than 70, that means this one falls within from 70 to 80. So it will check for that condition. If from 70 to 80, it should do what print what mm-hmm. You had a B. You had a B. See that? Then we go back again. Elif if mark is what greater than 60, so that means it will be between from 60 to 70. That is it. So print what um let me say you had what C, right? Then I think mhm. Else then I think I'll leave it here. I don't want, if you have several conditions, you keep bringing what you keep bringing the elif. But now we don't have else. We print something else. Print what? My friend, I don't want to mention your grade. My friend, I can't mention. I don't want to. I don't want to mention your grade. See that? So yes. So let me run this. Then I need to input a grade. So let me say 80. So you had B. Have you seen that? So yes, we can now make this what? We've done functions today. So we can make this a function. So yes, we can make this a function, right? So long as we've done functions, then we can make this a function. So we can say what? df grader, grader, then grader, grader is here. Then we go here, then we put everything out. All of this have to go inside. This one too have to go inside. This one 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 too have to go one step back. This one step in, one step back. You see that? Oh, sorry. Okay, so yes, this is it. Right. So when I do this, then I call grader anywhere. Grader. Grader expects me to your mark here, and I give what? 29. Tell me, haha, my friend, I don't want to mention your grade. So that is it. I mention again, I give what? 98. Tells me what? You had an A. So that is it for, I think, that is it. That is it. That is it. That is it. So we'll end it here and see. Next week then we'll have to then start with what? We'll talk about what modules are, what a library is, then I will look at what the various libraries that we'll be working with, right? What a module is, what a library is, and then how to the various libraries that we'll be working with. That is what NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Protein. We'll see how we can use those libraries, right? So there's a way. We'll see. I'll find a way. Monday will be Monday. I'll also be busy Monday. So I'll find a way. I don't know how I'll do it on Monday. I'll see how best. But from Tuesday we'll go back to our normal time, which is what 10 a.m. Okay. So yeah, Nashiru is saying what? Just join. Please, can we write if else conditions on the same line? Yes, you can write it on the same line without breaking without breaking end and using the backspace. Without breaking end. Yes, we can write, yeah, on the same line, right? We can write the if statement on the same line. We're looking at, we call that one list comprehension, right? We call list comprehension. So for Nasiru, where was I? Nasiru, let me go here. So let me see, let me do this. Let me save this. Uh, mhm. So I want to create, let me do this and see. Uh, um, mhm. uh, so I have what? Yeah. We will not be doing OOP, please. So let me see. Uh, what do we have? Mark. What is mark? Mark is 8 here. So I want to check something. So return. So let me see. A. If mark is what? Mm, greater than what? If mark is greater than if mark is greater than mark is greater than, let me see, 75. So when I mark and I run this, mark. hmm Mark, if mark is greater, it's just uh, let me see. But I'll look at it and I'll come back at it. Right, Nasiru. Yes, but I think my list comprehension. I'll look at it and come. I'll let my list comprehension. I'll touch on it on Monday. When I'm doing the next lecture. Right. I think when I'm trying to do it, it is not. Yes, but we can put it on the same line. I think. Yeah. Okay. So let me see if let me go through your comment section and see if there are several questions that I need to. But yeah, for now that is. I'll just leave it. We'll leave it that way. We'll continue another time. Right. It's almost it's in the evening. Okay. Yes. Have a nice time. 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 Sorry for the inconveniences these days. I think yesterday and today, it hasn't been smooth. Yeah, but thankfully it is on YouTube, right? So you can come back to it and you can come back to it anytime, no matter. You can always get it, access to it. Mhm. So yes, bye. See you.